Hello, my name is George W. Jones, Director of Fine Arts for the Garland Independent School District, and welcome to this special edition of Spotlight on the Arts. Today we are pleased to feature a performance by the Austin Academy Jazz Band under the direction of Margaret Wis. This ensemble was recently selected to perform as one of 2 middle school bands at the 4th Annual Jazz Education Network Conference in Atlanta, Georgia on January the 3rd. Today we will hear some selections that they performed on that concert, and we'll visit with some of the students and the director about their experience. We hope that you enjoy this segment of Spotlight on the Arts.
Well, at first my parents wanted me to just join jazz band, and then I realized that I really wanted to do it because I like playing a lot of instruments.
Well, I got interested in jazz band because I just love playing my instrument so much.
Well, I've always wanted to kind of try different genres of music, and it's just kind of a good way to, learn a lot about music and have fun.
Well, back when I started at Austin Academy 26 years ago, I remember our principal, Mr. Poore at the time, Tom Poore, said, "Margaret, I want you to start a jazz band." I did not have, of course, drum set, amplifiers, and Tom Poore bought those for the band, and we started to have jazz band, one group, for about the first 4 or 5 years. And then after that, it was so popular that we started a second jazz band. And so now at Austin we have 2 jazz bands that meet outside the school day.
It's hard because sometimes I'll have lots of homework, so I'll be staying up till 10, 11 o'clock at night on Thursdays doing homework after getting home from jazz band.
It's hard work, but sometimes it's just so fun, it doesn't even feel like work. We just have a blast at practices, and I really love playing jazz, so it's really fun.
Well, I actually don't mind practicing on Thursdays because I don't do much else otherwise, and it's a lot better than sitting at home looking at the wall.
When you play in a jazz band, it's kind of like a show choir where the students are responsible for their own part. So it really fosters independent playing.
Oh yes, jazz band's, it's kind of a bigger challenge for you, so you know, once you get to the concert music, it's not as hard as it seems anymore.
You feel more comfortable with saying, like, you did this wrong, this is how you can do it better. So you gel as a group more than you do in concert bands, since there's 74 something people in there and there's only 20 something people in jazz band.
Concert band, the part you're playing is most likely going to be shared by a few other sections in that piece. But in jazz band, it's kind of like the part you have, the person next to you is going to have a different part, person next to them is going to have their own part.
So you have to learn to be more confident when you're playing and to count on your own and not depend on other people.
It helps with performing a little bit more, because in jazz band, when you're playing all by yourself and no one else plays the same stuff that you are, then you're also standing in the front when more people can see you. It works on your stage fright skills, I guess.
With our sight reading, it really makes a difference because jazz rhythms are very syncopated, very, advanced for the middle school student, and they're also catchy. So the kids really enjoy practicing it. So I think it adds, an extra push or challenge for our students.
I'm a lot better of a sight reader, and I pay attention more than I used to do.
There's a lot trickier rhythms with the syncopated beats and the swing, and you have to learn how to count all that and figure out those rhythms on your own too.
Well, it's helped me to learn different kinds of rhythms in concert band that I wouldn't have known. And when you play pieces that have swing in it, it's easier to play it because I know how to play it now since I'm in jazz band.
Now I understand how to play my tone, rhythms, etc., stuff like that I can now add from jazz band to my concert playing in a concert band.
Well, they have a conference each year, Jazz Education Network. We went to the first one in St. Louis 4 years ago. The process is such where school bands can go ahead and send in audition tapes, and they obviously rotate, who they're going to invite. The last time we went, I believe there were 2 middle schools there, and this time we were one of the 2 chosen.
My favorite part of the trip was just I got to listen to some really good musicians and meet some of my favorite jazz musicians like Bob Minster and Jeff Coffin.
I don't really know that many jazz musicians, but I came out there knowing that those guys were pros and that I should probably study up on them. One guy was like Wycliffe Gordon. He could just do everything, like all around good musician. He would play a trombone, he would get on the trumpet, he would scat and everything.
Yeah, I met this guy named Wycliffe Gordon. The first time I heard of him was when we were going to one of the night concerts. He was playing there with a young lady and her brother, and that was the first time I ever heard of him, and I was actually kind of amazed at how good he was at playing the trombone.
I met about 2. They're both girls. They played for UNT, I believe, right here in Texas, and they were amazing. I mean, I really considers me to, maybe I should do bari sax as a profession. I could play in a jazz band when, I'm in college. So, it was a really good experience.
There were only 2 middle schools at the conference, including us. And so, imagine there are a lot of professionals there expecting a lot.
They heard everything from combos, soloists to big bands, and they heard all different levels. They saw instruments they never had seen before, and they heard professionals that were so truly amazing that, that to me is really the reason why I like to take them for the exposure.
That was an unforgettable trip. We did a lot of sightseeing.
Atlanta has a lot of places to go. We have World of Coke, CNN and Stone Mountain. It's really exciting. I mean, World of Coke was really interesting. You got to see all these flavors they have from other countries in Asia you didn't even know about. And then Stone Mountain was a really cool place,
We went to the Georgia Aquarium, probably it's been said as one of the best aquariums in the United States, and the World of Coke really stands out. It was really fun because we got to taste a bunch of different Coke brands from around the world, like Europe, Asia, so on.
Well, one of my favorite parts was the hotel because we had this magnificent hotel that had awesome elevators and it was a beautiful interior.
Some really good restaurants, and one of those places was the Varsity.
Probably my favorite part was the exhibits where we got to try out all the different instruments, like a bunch of other trombones, and it's really cool.
They could not wait to get out of the aquarium, which was awesome, to get back to the hotel to try instruments. And I think one of the most exciting times for me was to see the look on the students' faces as they were trying the different instruments, just the awe of the quality of the instrument when they're playing. Wow, this plays so much better than my instrument. And just kind of the wheels turning about how they could get a new mouthpiece to enhance their sound. I was amazed with how, as 7th and 8th graders, they were uninhibited and would just play. One of the kids said, "What do I play? There's these people kind of listening." I said, "Nobody's listening, they're all trying horns." And he started playing. Some people stopped to listen when they saw this young fella playing the pocket trumpet. It was just amazing.
Before Atlanta, I kind of had an idea of wanting to be involved in music somehow as a career, but going to Atlanta definitely assured me of wanting to become a professional musician focused mainly on jazz.
Well, I haven't really started planning out for the future right now, as I've just been planning out like high school, go to IB at Garland and do band there, but I don't know what I'm really going to do after high school with music or anything like that.
I've never thought of making it a career or anything, but to definitely keep playing, you know, through high school, and maybe as kind of a side thing.
I sort of want to be a band director because it would be a lot of fun, and I like playing a lot of different instruments.
Well, probably until college, and then when I get to college, I want to be in their band.
I know for sure that I'm gonna keep music in my life in any way that it can. I'm gonna try to pursue other jobs, like trying to be a doctor or a lawyer, something like that, but I'll make sure for sure I'll keep music in my life for as long as I can.
Well, I'm certainly going to do a band in high school, maybe do marching band or a jazz band, and then I might go to UNT if I do decide on doing music.
I have many students that are currently teaching band in the area and in other states. And one student in particular wrote a piece for the jazz band. His name is Micah. He went to Austin Academy and he went to Rowlett High School. From there he went to TCU and to North Texas. Just last year he was the lead player in the 1 o'clock jazz band, which is quite a prestigious position. And I asked him to please compose a piece for the jazz band for the conference. And at that time we had a very tragic event. Our trumpet teacher of 14 years, Frank Reed, passed away suddenly. And so I had the idea that I'd like to have Micah write the piece and dedicate it to the memory of Frank Reed. Well, Micah came up with the idea of calling it Reed's Army, which represented the army of students that Frank has had an impact on over the years, including ours. He also taught at North Garland and Jackson Middle School. And when the kids heard that it was going to be called Reed's Army, they were just like so taken. From the moment we got that piece and started working on it, it was like, you know, it's our piece and it was for Frank Reed. And now Micah has taken Frank's position as our trumpet teacher. And he was at the conference. He played with Chris Berg's big band at the conference, so their trumpet teacher was there as the composer and as their teacher. That was awesome.
Thanks for watching today. As always, I invite you to visit our website at www.garlandisd.net/fine arts. There you'll find a calendar of events that are taking place across our school district. I hope that you'll join us again next time when once again we shine our spotlight on the arts.